I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Oh my gosh, we completely forgot what we are doing. Welcome. Hello. Do you need me? Oh, you thought I was talking to you. He didn't know we were live. Well, that's all right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we are live, and we are live from, generally, I would say it's like, I would say my grandparents' house. I would say we are live from the Bilbrey plantation, the Bilbrey estate, but it might be, it's not all the way down, but it might be like the first or second layer of hell right now because I am cooking. It is hot. But I think that's just because I was running around and I've got on another shirt on top of another shirt, and so it is what it is. But all right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are here. We are not live from the studio this evening. My apologies. Things are a little bit better than normal, though, because we're not doing it from my janky little system like that we normally do. If I'm not live, we're doing it from an actual laptop. So we're just a little bit more like the studio. It's just a little bit better. I will have access to a little bit more. Kate won't have to do as much. So, you know, it is what it is. I want to thank Kate for being here. Obviously, producer Kate is at the controls, making sure everything runs smoothly. This is the 289th episode of the Political Spotlight. If you can do us a favor, we would love you forever and a day if you would go through and do all of the things that you know that you need to do. If you're watching on YouTube, do the click thing. If you're on Twitter, share, Facebook, share, do all of those things that you know that you're supposed to do. Please don't leave us hanging. We don't ask you for much. You don't pay to be here. It doesn't cost you to subscribe to the channel. So sharing and hitting the like, that's the way that you give us your thanks. And we thank you for doing that. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do something that I don't really ever do. I do always, as we know here, and I say frequently, and am proud of it, and am not ashamed. I, your humble host, yours truly, am a Christian. I have no qualms about saying that. There's no issue with saying that. At the end of every show, I always leave off with the God bless you. And I don't always or routinely like break into prayer or whatever on the show. I have a couple times, but I want to read you something. In the King James Bible, Matthew 7, chapters 7 and 8, ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. And listen, while trying to live a life that you should live and apply the Bible to everyday life, I try to do that. So I am someone who loves questions. Probably one of my most favorite things that I have heard in a long time is that Counselor Ryan Webb has said that he used to have a boss that would say, I ask questions because that's where the answers are. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe, I wish I would have thought of that, but I'm going to hijack that saying. Perception is reality. We ask questions because that's where the answers are. What an amazing tagline. And I will tell you, in politics, asking questions is kind of like akin to poking yourself in the eye. You ask questions of officials and you get lies or you get contempt. Matter of fact, I will give you an example of that in just a little bit. It blows my mind. But I'm also going to give you an example of something that occurred today. Actually, it occurred yesterday and today, yesterday and today. And it was a miracle almost. I basically 2 days in a row, I have asked questions of my government officials. And just like that, I've received response. I've received, clarification. I have asked for something and I have received it. And so it's amazing. So, of course, that's the title for tonight's show, Ask and Ye Shall Receive. I'm feeling pretty good. Now, I imagine this means we're probably going to be kicked in the face for the next 6 months because I've got 2 good things that's happened in the last 2 days. So it is what it is. You got to celebrate the small victories. We talk about that here a lot, too. The moon is gorgeous tonight. I have not looked at the moon. Yeah, I saw that there. I just saw the private chat. Good evening. Hey, Charlize, I saw that you were in attendance in the meeting. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've been check, take 2. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been attempting to go over the Muncie Board of Works meetings for the last couple of meetings. And for the last 2 weeks, we have not had any luck doing that. We will be able to officially go through those 2 separate meetings. We will also be going through the Muncie Redevelopment Commission meeting that occurred today. That's an important meeting. And I also want to let everybody know that for some unknown reason, the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission meeting happened today at the exact same time as the Muncie Redevelopment Commission meeting. That generally doesn't happen. I don't know why it happened, and I'm looking to see. No, I was hoping that it would be uploaded. It has not been uploaded, and this is something that Mark Slusher, who is in charge of uploading the videos for both the city and the county, for some unknown reason, he's not quick generally when it comes to the county redevelopment commission meetings. I hate it. I don't understand why it takes so long. The last 2 meetings, he was boom, bang, pow, quick. But generally, he waits for 2 to 3 weeks. And I received a lot of communication today about that meeting from the Redevelopment Commission meeting. And I talked to one of the board members, and I've got a little bit of insight on it. But we will wait till it's up to go through it to talk about it. But there are some things that are going on there that are of interest. And I hate to say it, but it reflects back poorly on Commissioner James King. And it just goes to show you what I've been talking about for basically the entirety of King's time in government. It's absolutely really ridiculous. So, okay. The county doesn't pay as much as the city. Yeah, exactly why he lost. Yes. So, I first want to start off by saying, let me come here to my email box here. I kind of feel like there's something important that we need to cover. Let me ask you this. I want to ask you this. Shirley Jameson, if you're still in the comments, would you confirm or deny? I have not watched the MRC meeting yet. I was going to go through it live with you guys tonight. Before we go through that, can you just confirm or deny, did the Redevelopment Commission meeting, the officials there, bring up anything about Store Estates, or did you or any of the other citizens question anything about Store Estates? Basically, what I'm asking is, from essentially gavel to gavel, did anyone bring up Store Estates in the Muncie Redevelopment Commission meeting? And I know we're going to watch through it and go through it, but before we get started, and you don't got to like tell us what all happened, just if they did, yes or no. I would be interested to know if they did. So, all right, wait a minute. So Stumblefoot, who must have watched the meeting, said, yes, it got brought up. Okay, well, I'm excited to hear that if he's saying yes to me about that. Oh, no. Oh, I don't know. He might be answering Tweety Bird. I guess we'll see. Okay, while we are waiting for that. Whoa. Okay, yep, yes. Okay, Charlize said yes, and I asked for clarification on it during public comment. All right. That makes you my favorite viewer tonight so far. Thank you. Thank you for being in the audience. Thank you for talking about it. Thank you for asking. I don't even know what you said yet, but thank you for that. That's awesome. So we're going to get to that. Before we get to that, we are going to deviate from those meetings to talk about something that is important. I think I hate this thing that people always talk about. We've talked about it a lot on here, where people in the community say things. They literally post this in social media. They post, is there anywhere that I can go to find out information about my elected officials or the candidates running for office? The Star Press just does not seem to put anything in there. And like literally, I click on this and I'm like, man, did this person just move to Muncie? Oh no, it's somebody that's like been here all their life. Someone that like I routinely talk to, and I'm like, good Lord, like you're seriously not trying. There's us. I know that the Star Press sucks. I get it. But there's also the Muncie Journal, which they're like, okay, I get it. There's also the Muncie Post Democrat. And like, look, I get they're left-leaning. It's a left-leaning little job, but we're a right-leaning job. So it's like, no harm, no foul. You use all of it together. We're talking about local politics. So honestly, locally, it doesn't really matter. I get it that the people running the Muncie Post Democrat are liberal on a national level. I get it. We're not going to agree, but we hold some of the very same agreements and thoughts about local level. So there are places out here, people. So I like to try to, while I whore myself out and push our program out, I also like to bring attention to the other entities. The Daily News. The Daily News tries hard. Newslink Indiana, for what they do, they really try hard. I agree. I talk to people from the Daily News frequently, the different reporters and whatnot. And so, yeah, that's a good source for people that are trying. If you're not, I'm going to put it to you this way. If you live in East Central Indiana and you're not up to date on what's going on in your community, it's because you're not trying. It's very easy. The elected officials make it hard, but we've all been doing what we've been doing long enough that we're like good at our jobs. And so at this point, there's enough little side hustles out here where if you want to know what's going on, all you got to do is try a little bit. It's not that hard, okay? It really isn't. We make it easy. They make it hard. We make it easy. It is what it is. So before we research the 3 meetings that we're going to go over tonight, I want to look at this newsletter from the Muncie Post Democrat. Okay, and this was put out today. Forgive me. I have a laptop. The laptop is not a MacBook. Over the last couple years of producing the show, I have really just completely lost all of my ability to use Windows-based computers. I went over to the dark side, to the MacBooks, to the Apple product. I still do Android. Okay. But I like my computing processing to be iOS, okay? This, however, this computer here is Windows, so I do some things that are backwards. So bear with me. We're going to try to blow this up to where you guys can see it here. We can do that. Can you guys? Oh yeah, you can see that. I need to do it more. Okay, you're good there. What?
Scroll up a bit so the actual print of the article shows.
Oh, yeah.
So I can see that.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks good.
I think that should be okay.
Yeah, that looks good, because I'm going to read. Yeah. Yes. Julie Johnson, that is a very true statement. I've heard that from many people. If you do take service with the Star Press, watch your bill. I have heard more people than Julie respond about that. I have heard that from several people. So just, make sure if it's the Star Press, you should be running the show, because they're not they're out of control. Okay, so this article that just was released today from the Muncie Post Democrat says, "Does our mayor even care anymore? Everything being perpetrated by the right now administration doesn't rely on any decent legal defense, but on the very fact that our state government can hardly enforce its own rules." I've not read this, so I'm interested in where this is going. "The only institutional awareness that this administration has is the art of keeping council officials out of any and all meetings they conduct. But this doesn't mean the council can't hold their own. When the administration tried skipping bargaining agreements via going around the council, Nora Powell, councilor for District 2, easily put City Controller Craig Wright in his place on his loose interpretation of state code. And of course, we've seen that. We watched that when they were talking about whether they could put the raise through or not. All right. She's also went to toe-to-toe with him when talking about the new money in the new budget for the coming year and what the DLGF, the Department of Local Government Finance, says the money that we're going to be getting is, and there's a lot of confusion over that. We should be getting a schedule for budget meetings soon. Okay. The Post Democrat enjoys your support. Our impact only grows as our audience does, and the output couldn't be made possible without subscribers like you. Wait, is that it? I was ready to read something amazing. Solutions exist already for transparency in Muncie. Let's see what this is. Okay, this is we've already went through this. Well, that was kind of like a tease. That kind of I hate that. I thought that was going to be interesting. Huh. Well, look what happened there. Oh, well. Okay, that was it. Let me click on this and see if there's something there that takes us to something. Let me see when this was. No, man, that was back in June. Well, it is what. Hey, listen, whatever the case is, that's bad prep on my part. I should have known that already. That's hilarious to me. I should have went at least scrolled through that first. My bad. Well, I agree with that little blurb. Hilarious. Maybe they're going to turn that into an article. I don't really know what's happening there. I will say that was released as a letter, a newsletter, rather than their regular thing. So I don't know what happened there. Okay, it was clickbait. It is what it is. Hazards of doing it live. Absolutely. What are you doing in there? Oh, you're fine. Huh? What? Do I want water? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I am. You're fine. Bring it in here. We'll see what happened here. What? No. You're gonna come over here and wave to him? All right. Thank you. I was about out of water, so yes, it would be a completely new disembodied hand. That was my grandmother. Hey, last time we were doing it here, she could not have got up and walked like that. So it's good, it's a good thing that she can basically do backflips now. Yeah, there was an article released today. Oh yeah, we'll talk about that article too. I got to talk to you about that a little bit. That thing, they really went hard trying to make it seem like that was such an amazing thing that happened. And I've got to give you a little bit of insight into that. It's interesting to kind of understand how the city of Muncie works. I guess since the Muncie Post Democrat, which again, I'm not giving them any shade because I generally like their local content. I should have looked at that ahead of time. That was my fault. But since that didn't go anywhere, I will now talk about this article really briefly about this Inside Indiana Business, this article that was put out that Stumblefoot was just talking about. And it's Inside Indiana Business is actually a pretty big to do. Inside Indiana Business with Gary Dick. He was the gentleman, if you recall, for those of you that watched the lieutenant governor debate back in August, he was the gentleman that was the moderator. Gary Dick, he's a gentleman that I know. I've interacted with a lot of times. There's interaction with him at WIBC. And so he knows his stuff, but he's got this production. And I finally, the city of Muncie got into Indiana business. The city of Muncie, Dan has wanted into this and has not been able to break into this, And finally today, he gets the story that he has wanted. And so we will share that with you here. Here's Dan Ridenauer, Inside Indiana Business with Gary Dick. And this article says, Muncie Mayor, the tide is changing in East Central Indiana. Well, isn't that nice? It says, officials in Muncie are bullish on the future for both their city and the entire East Central Indiana region. About 300 people gathered Tuesday at the Horizon Convention Center for IBJ's Media's Engagement East Central Indiana event. And Mayor Dan Ridenauer touted what he says is a resurgence in the region, citing recent estimates of population growth in several counties. Yeah, I like how he says that, in several counties. Is Delaware County one of those counties? I would be interested to know. In Muncie specifically, Ridenauer said the city has been seeing population increase in each of the last 3 years, according to the U.S. Census estimates, after 50 years of decline. I'm really interested in that. That's very interesting. Interesting. We are in a trajectory, slowly but upward. That is a big change, the mayor said. Ridenauer, now in his second term as mayor, told Inside Indiana Business that addressing the demand for housing has been a big part of his administration. He said developing key partnerships with state and local government, as well as other organizations, has been a crucial part of that plan. We've had great successes with tax credit programs, and we've got our first development under construction right now. That's one that's both affordable and market rate at the same time, the mayor said. We also put in a subdivision. All 34 lots of the subdivision are sold. Listen to this. We also put in a subdivision. All 34 lots of this subdivision are sold. No houses yet, but they're all sold. We do have some building permits, and we've got some other things coming. Now, that's just not true. So, Dan, you lied to Gary Dick. That's just not a good thing to do, bro. In July, Indianapolis-based TWG Development broke ground on the $27,120-unit Kilgore Place apartment complex. The city said the project, when complete, will include resident services that promote professional development and personal growth. But Ridenour said that the demand for housing is in Muncie. Nearly 100% of the city's downtown residential space is occupied, and officials are seeking Ready 2.0 funding to add more housing options. We have some great employers, large employers that have big regional focus, like Ball State, IU Health Ball Hospital. We built an apartment complex downtown that has just 55 units, but it was the first new non-student apartment complex since 2003. 70% of the people who moved in were people who either already worked for Ball State or worked at IU Ball Hospital. And so we know there are people who would move here if we have the housing. Ball State University President Jeffrey Mearns, who participated in a panel discussion, listen to this, with other local leaders at the Engage event, agrees that Muncie and East Central Indiana are on an upward trajectory and have been for the past decade. But Mearns said in addition to affordable housing, other challenges remain, such as educational attainment and health outcomes. Here in East Central Indiana, we are lagging some statewide averages in population health statistics. So we want to work with our partners at IU Health Ball Memorial Hospital and Ivy Tech with Reed Hospital System to improve those outcomes for the people that we serve all across East Central Indiana, because it's the right thing to do for those people and their families, Mearns said. But we know that we will also help attract new businesses, and we will enable existing businesses to grow and prosper. Ridenour added that it can't just be additional housing that attracts people to Muncie. No kidding. Other amenities have to be in place. We've added 4 splash pads to some of our local parks. Dude, he is obsessed with these splash pads. We've added 2 new parks. We have some of the largest trail systems, he said. Then you have Ball State and everything that comes with that. There's entertainment, there's sporting events, there's art and culture. There are those wonderful things that come with Ball State. So we just need to sell that better, and we're doing what we can to make that happen. Now, while they did this beautiful article on him, while they did this amazing article, okay, I've got to be honest. It's kind of funny that they did not invite Ridenour to be part of the panel. They did this thing in Ridenour's city. They had Ridenour talk to some people and kind of be the MC, but they didn't have Ridenour to be part of this amazing panel of dignified guests. And I'm hearing that kind of hurt the Dan man's feelings a little bit. I'm hearing that he was upset. He didn't know if he wanted to go, but he was talked into it. And I think that the little give and take that happened was, if you go, if you show up, if you do the mayoral duty that you should do, then we'll give you an article that some people will some people will read. Now, I will tell you what's even more funny about this is the mayor that they had on the panel was the mayor that's like 27 years old, that's just 9 months into his first term from Marion. Okay, so like a smaller town, just really interesting. Generally, I'll put it to you this way. Organizations like this do not go to the city of Indianapolis and do a big event in their city and have panel people that are politicians and elected officials and say, hey, by the way, Hogsett, will you come and MC the event? But then when you're done, go sit down there. You're sitting behind the stage in the green room. That doesn't happen, okay? But it does if you're Dan Ridenour. So while the things that we're doing make us seem like a big city, we're still sitting at the kid table. And I believe that that is because of Dan's lack of communication, the just crazy buzz of total chaos that surrounds literally everything that the city does. Literally. And for all of the snarky comments and the giggling and the laughing that Mike Martin did at last council meeting when people were kind of questioning the crisis center. Okay. The crisis center is still not operational. I'm going to look at it right now. Yeah. Thursday, September 19th. Okay. And it's still not operational. We have basically we've got 1 week and 4 days. We've got a week and a half until October of 2024. This thing was supposed to be operational by October of 2023. Crisis Center's still empty and no work's being done. Now, I've been by there and I've seen a car here, a car there. I've seen a guy moving here, moving there. But there's still a lot of work to be done, man. So, I wish it really kind of turned me off when the crisis center, which deserves to be brought up to the city of Muncie, was brought up in a way that needed to be brought up. And you've got Mike Martin and his cohorts, kind of bashing the citizen a little bit who was bringing that up. I don't like that because I understand that they they're on doing the whole side of this and they're trying to play kiss butt with Ridenhour a little bit, but you got to call it like it is. On the other hand, Delaware County Rehab Center is going up fast. My question is Delaware County's rehab center going to be completed before? I don't think that'll happen. Even in my wildest imagination, I don't think that'll happen. I think more than likely what will happen is the crisis center, it's probably going to get going here soon, I would say. When I say soon, I still think that that's probably going to have the year 2025 at the end of it. Okay. So, yeah, Dan, that is definitely true. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, that's the article from Indiana Business. City of Muncie's trying to, make that be this great, big, wonderful thing, how great it is. I also wanted to show you, before we kick into the meetings, remember yesterday how I told you that the City of Muncie just continues to sell us on the fact that the park in Muncie at Store Estates is done. It's open, grand opening. Well, here yet again, we see, yes, pickleball is for everyone, including City of Muncie Fire Department firefighters. We hope you enjoyed your game. And here they show the Muncie Fire Department out at the park. At least we get a good shot of the playground this time. We've got some Muncie firemen here playing. Oh, look, they're playing tennis. I don't know. Everyone keeps calling this pickleball. You mean it's tennis? Why didn't they just say that? So there's that. All right. Whoop-de-doo. It's there. Everything's wonderful. Look, every one of the Dan addicts just right in line there to go there and love it and heart it and tell them how wonderful it's doing and really to, crazy. Okay. Now it's time to finally, after weeks and weeks and weeks of craziness, it's time to finally look at the Board of Works meetings and the Redevelopment Commission meeting and all of that. So first and foremost, we're going to go back to the Board of Works meeting from the 13th. Okay, from Friday the 13th. All right, we're going to pull this up, and we're going to pause. So I didn't know if this would get brought up. I didn't know if this would get brought up. Kate actually said this last night. We kind of talked about it. And I knew when I heard about this that people would not like it. So let me tell you why I don't have a problem with the fire department. Okay. I don't have a problem with the fire department going down there and doing that because, so for example, the firemen in the fire truck, like in the ambulance or on the big hook and ladder truck or whatever, the hose truck, whatever. I don't know. I'm not a fireman, never was. So all the big various fire trucks they've got. When they want to go eat lunch or when they go to the store to get food, they can't just jump in a little car or their personal car. They're on duty 24 hours a day. So they're on duty from 7 o'clock Monday morning to 7 o'clock Tuesday morning. So when they drive anywhere, they drive in the vehicle that they are in. However wild and crazy and like that's crazy loss of gas, but it makes sense because if they're getting food at the grocery store and a big fire comes out, you don't want them to have to drive back to get in the truck. You want them to leave from where they're at to go save your life. So they will routinely drive around in the vehicle if they've got to go place. Now they don't just drive it around. They're not driving like police officers. Police officers are out patrolling around. The firemen generally park and stay put. But when they've got to drive to go do things, they do that stuff. And so they routinely will have to drive up to City Hall to turn in paperwork, or they will have to do this or that. And so while they do that, they will also drive around or whatever, you know what I mean? And so I had found out about what happened here. And the firemen were driving back from a place that they were needed to be at. And they were driving down. Basically, it was the fire truck it was the fire station there on the edge of Ball State. And they looped in there. There were some kids there. You could hear it in the Riding Hour video from yesterday. And they got out and played with the kids for a little bit. Yeah, it's a photo op. They took it as a photo op. It is what it is. I just don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with them. It's the same thing as a cop driving around and getting out of the car and playing basketball with a kid in the park or something like that. It is what it is. I don't have much of a problem with that. It is what it is. So I can understand. I knew that people would have an issue with it. We kind of talked about it, but I get it. So I can see, I mean, I see why they did it. I don't have a problem. I can see people having a problem with it. It is what it is. All right. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we go into Friday the 13th. Now, this is only a 7-minute meeting, so this is going to be quick. I'm mostly concerned about hearing how much money is spent, because I think this is the one where they spent like nearly $1 million with no questions. $1 million spent in 7 minutes. No questions.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to the special September 13th meeting of the Board of Public Works and Safety. This is our rescheduled meeting from Wednesday, and we didn't have a quorum, but we do today, so thank you for joining us. If you'd like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Okay.
Can we have roll call, please?
Ted Baker.
Present.
Lola Mauer.
Present.
Linda Gregory.
Present.
Thank you, Lacey. We've received the claim, or excuse me, the minutes from the September
I
4th
still
meeting.
don't understand what he
Would we have a
struggles with
motion
this
to approve
so badly with.
those minutes?
It's not that
Yeah,
hard.
I approve the September 4th minutes as presented.
And I'll second the motion.
Yeah, there's nothing special.
Yeah.
about it. It's
Call
just
for a vote here.
rescheduled.
I'll
Okay.
do that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you. We've been given the register of claims. Mr. Craig Wright, City Controller, if you'd come forward and maybe share any insights with us.
Usually say good morning, but good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right. So he approaches at 1:51 is when he first started talking.
Really, this week's claims, we've got our usual monthly charge to Indiana Michigan Power for traffic signals and street lights. Our utility claims, usual healthcare claims, and the significant claims on this week is from fire EMS for radios, purchase of radios, and also with the police with the purchase of radios. So that I'll open up to any questions you might have.
Okay. Linda, how about you?
I have none.
Okay, Lola?
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Okay. I do not have any others. I think they're pretty self-explanatory. Do you want to explain anything about?
Yeah, I just wanted to come in today and tell you, we did have the big radio purchase.
And who are you?
Dan Burford, Chief of the Fire Department.
Thank you.
And
We do that, but we.
yeah, and so the total claim for that was $411,000, but we are very pleased that we did receive a assistance to firefighters federal grant for $375,000 of that. So it is a rather large claim, but obviously, you know, the majority of that did come from a federal grant. We were able to match that. So
Great
we
job.
are
Thank
pleased
you.
for that. So I just wanted to thank you for that and
Thank you.
let people know that, yes, it was a very large purchase, but
Thank
you
you.
know,
That's
gratefully only 10% of the total purchase had to come from our
Yeah.
funds.
Good.
And we'll see the expense side, but we don't always see the revenue side or that
Mhm.
grant side. So thank you for telling us, and that's very important.
Thank you
So,
very much.
Yeah.
okay, does anybody else have anything they want to share about the claims today? Okay, having none, all those in, do we have a motion to approve the claims?
I move approval of the claims as presented for $1,280,474.
Second.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay. All those in favor of the claims as presented, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion.
Okay. So 358, 150. All right. To 2, to 3. All right. So 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 7 seconds. 2 minutes, 7 seconds. And Burford came in and explained the radio portion, which is the city's only paying 10% of. And the claim is $1,280,474. 1.2 million. $1.2 million. The city of Muncie spent and voted on in 2 minutes and 7 seconds. 2 minutes, 7 seconds with no questions. So what is that? That's 1.2 million in 2 minutes and 7 seconds. So what does that break down to? That's too much math for me. I'd have to take off. I'd need to take off my shoes and your shoes. So
It is $9,500 a second.
wait, hold on. 90.
Yeah, because I don't have the exact number. Give me the
Okay.
exact number.
All right. 1,280,474.
So it is $10,082.47
per
47
second.
47 cents per second.
Per second.
$10,082.47 per second.
Mm-hmm. They discussed it for 127 seconds. That math work for you?
Yeah. You hear that in there? The other my grand. Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
My
Grandma's in there yelling numbers at you too?
No, my grandpa always says, like, man, until we really started watching you, like, I never realized how much money, like, just local governments burn through and what goes on and all of the insanity. So I want to make sure you guys can hear me in there. You're just in the other room. I can almost imagine you sitting there. Listen to what I'm saying. That means the city of Muncie just spent $10,000 a second for 127 seconds. That is insane. That is totally nuts. All right, let's go on here.
Carrie, thank you very much.
God.
I'm a little out of sorts, you know, it's just didn't have my rhythm.
It's a different day.
Yeah, that's right.
No, Dan, Ted, you're always out of sorts, dude.
The only other point of business we have is a noise exemption authorization for
Charlie's
Kenneth West's birthday party on September 14th. This has been granted. The noise exemption authorization application has been approved by the police chief, and it is tomorrow. There's just a mix-up on the timing of our meeting and such. So I would like to bring this up to, even though he's not here, the police chief is holding him pretty accountable to this, and so we're going to watch over this. So.
Are you going to watch over it
with the police chief right after this meeting? So we'll reemphasize that this is we got to stick to our guns. What I want to make sure is this request is for a noise exemption for 1022 East Willard Street from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. For 30 people. And what we're going to do is we're going to learn to make sure that there were no more than 30 people there. I think that's very important as we move forward.
Yeah.
So do we have a motion to approve this noise exemption request?
I would move approval of the
Ted's going to go
request.
down there and head count.
I bet he is.
Make sure it's only 30
Okay, do we have any comments?
What?
Make sure it's only 30 people. And that there's no alcohol. Can't be.
No, there can be alcohol.
People.
They didn't say it. Nope. There can be alcohol. She didn't say it. I hope they go down there. I mean, now granted, this was last week, so it's already over, but I hope they had one hell of a humdinger. I hope there were 70 people there.
What are they going to do if there were 70 people there?
Yeah, right. All right. Your noise exemption's been revoked.
Yeah.
Get off my property.
Yeah.
This is so gross, man. Those Board of Works people. Well, technically, noise ordinance. You can violate the noise ordinance in the state of Indiana 24 hours a day. It's there's a state law that talks about, is it disorderly conduct? Basically, you can be arrested for disorderly conduct. For the city noise ordinance, I don't know what the deal is there, but I'm pretty sure that they can ding you like 24 hours a day, depending on what the noise is and what the appropriateness of it, whatever that means, and yada yada yada. But yeah, I think I get what you're saying.
Appropriateness of it?
What?
It's a bunch of kids playing in a yard for a birthday party.
It's not a bunch of kids. Or are you kidding me?
With alcohol.
Yeah, a bunch of kids.
But she's asked that before.
Yeah, yes.
It's
It's
like
like
a
the
kid's
little,
birthday. Will there be alcohol?
the little old lady.
Yes,
uh,
because we do things the European way here.
Yeah, right. We start drinking at 7.
Mhm.
Um,
And
that's-
if they're old enough to hold the cup, they're old enough to drink the wine.
oh God. Okay, here we go.
Answer questions?
I just think it's important that for the record, we're approving this without someone present only because we had a change in our meeting date, and chances are there's been a bit of confusion there, because normally we would be asking questions about alcohol use.
Normally, you're the only one that would be asking that, and normally it's like we've managed to make it through a lot of this in the summer. Now, what I notice is we start getting a lot of these now. We'll start getting a lot of these between now and say November because of like Ball State students and things. So we're really going to be listening to this, because the first time I hear this more than once or twice, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to rip these people a new one. Every year I do it because I think it's gross and I think these people need to be put in their place. Like, you're lucky that these people even come in here to pre-tell on themselves. I would never do this. City of Muncie, listen to me. Don't go ask for permission. Just apologize after the fact.
And such things. So
And I
I
feel,
don't want this to be a precedent by any means.
sure, and I feel comfortable with this too, only because the police chief is
Has signed
watching
off,
over
yeah.
it, yes. Okay, so all those in favor say
This
aye.
isn't rigging. This
Aye.
is
All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. And we have no other business on here except to make sure that people know that our next regularly scheduled.
this isn't rigging. This is the Linda. They're all about the same. Sherry Riggin, Sue Arrington, Linda. It's the same old kind of people. It's all the same. I know who you were talking about.
The board meeting will be Wednesday, September 18th at 9 a.m. back to the time. So this week was the first time.
Back to the time, and believe me, I'll be just as confused and trip over my words then too, and I will blame it on being back at the regular time next week.
Since I've been on the board of works, which
He's so proud of this.
from the very beginning, and Linda's too, that we were not able to meet on a Wednesday. So in 5 years,
Even
whatever.
during COVID.
yeah, even during COVID, but 5 years
Yeah.
plus, we have always been here, and I think that's pretty cool. So anyway, and we want to thank everybody for making it flexible for this time so that we could get bills paid, right, Craig? Okay. Any other points of business? Okay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Yes, he's back to doing that thing. Okay. Well, that was laughable and ridiculous and ignorant, all rolled into one. Onward, forward, ho to the one from this week. Board of Works, 9/18/24. Oh, no, wait a minute. That's the one that wasn't working, so let me make sure. Okay, here's the one. All right, here we go.
Good morning and welcome to the September 18th Board of Public Works and Safety meeting. If you'll please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Where's Ted?
Lacey, if we could have a roll call, please.
Ted Baker, Lola Maurer,
Present.
Linda Gregory.
Present.
Thank you.
Can't believe they even
And
do this.
up next, consideration of the September 13th minutes.
I move approval of the minutes from last week.
I will second. Any comments, questions? Hearing none. All those in
She's-
favor,
she's
please say
weirdo
aye.
too.
Aye. Aye. Opposed? Right. Craig Wright for the claims, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just wanted to, I sent out the email yesterday
Okay.
afternoon. A couple claims I just want to highlight. On page 5, we had a claim for $103,090.15. Hoosier Fire Equipment, and that is for duty gear for the 22 new recruits. So there were jackets, pants, helmets, various equipment. So we had a couple paving projects, and then a payment out of the ARP funds to Fredericks for the Substance Abuse Center. I'm finishing that up. And our usual healthcare and utilities. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions you might have.
Linda, any questions?
I have none.
All right. I have none either. Do I have a motion to approve the claims?
Move approval of the claims for $733,221.
Any comments, questions? All right. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Holy crap. You gotta be kidding me. That's nuts. All right, let's go.
Opposed? Thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
We have no unfinished business on the agenda. So moving into new
Yeah,
business, we have, excuse me, amending the travel policy for City of Muncie employees.
Yeah, listen to
That's why
this.
I'm staying up here.
Why you're still here?
Yeah, we decided it's time to update the travel policy for the associates
Listen
having
to
to go out of
this.
town on business for the city. And right now, the allowance for food is $35, which in today's world is quite low. So we basically have stated that it is per the standard set by the IRS.
Right.
And that the language is put in that way so we don't have to keep amending it. Whatever the IRS has
Mhm.
as their per diem is what we're set as a city. So. And I do have those with me. It currently, the meals for per the IRS, the allowance is $59. And the travel for reimbursement on any personal car use is 67 cents per mile. And any questions?
Any questions? On that?
Yes, it's my understanding that this revision is somewhat, what's the word I want? Allows for updates to the policy without our having to approve it continually. In other words, it follows federal and state
Yes,
policies, so we're not having to change it every
correct.
one of those rates changes.
Yeah, we're not setting it like at $40 and,
Right.
you know, the IRS states that this next year it's $45 and we have to go back and update it. So it's just per the IRS.
Okay.
Yes.
And then we make changes within the budget as necessary,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Which this year stays the same.
Yeah, $6 a day.
I move approval of the resolution on travel policy.
Right, and I will second.
I'm surprised Linda
Does anyone have
didn't
any
have a problem
comments,
with
questions?
this. I'm surprised Linda, because normally Linda's like, no, like sometimes I think Linda's a little too crazy. She's like, they went to eat, and it cost them $25. And I'm like, yeah, dude, there was like 2 of them. I'm surprised they did it for $25, but I'm surprised she didn't have anything to say about
Questions
this.
Me again.
Hi.
Jerry Wise, Muncie, Indiana. Page 2.
And then listen to Jerry here. Jerry doesn't realize that they've already done the claim, so he just gets up here. And you know what's amazing to me? Maybe, you know what's going to be so great? I can't wait until I'm like 60 or 70 years old and I just get up here and they can't shut me down because I'm an old man. And they're just like, well, we just got to answer his questions because he's an old guy. And, because look, if this was me, if I was doing what Jerry was doing right here, they would be like, sit down. We've already done this, or talk at the end. But nope, he just bulls all right on through, and they just finally answer his questions, even though it's like, I don't understand. Watch this.
There's 2,500 and 3,300 for,
We already moved through.
We've
the
already
claims.
through claims.
We're talking about the travel policy now for City of Muncie.
this is on the City of Muncie Board of Works.
That's the claims. They've already approved the claims. We're doing an amendment.
What were the claims
travel
for?
policy.
I'm just going to say that from now on. I'm going to get up and ask something that's totally outside of what they're talking about. And I'm going to be like, yeah, but this is the Madison County Council meeting, right? And they're like, no, but you can't talk right now. And I'm like, yeah, but this is the Madison County meeting, right? This is the Henry County Sheriff's Merit Board meeting. I can talk, right? No, dude, this is the Planning Commission. No, I'm good.
What were the claims for? What were the claims for?
Which one? I mean, we already had the claims approved. We've already gone through that. This is moving on to a
But
resolution
it's still,
on travel policy.
I just you don't know what the claims are for.
I want to say that. So you
One
don't
or the
know?
other. The first one.
Oh, so you don't know. It's like that lady that had the stick that walked into the Board of Works meeting.
Yeah, that's our electric bills.
I'm going to start doing that too. I'm going to start walking in with a great big stick.
It doesn't have I&M on it.
Right here.
Listen.
Indiana, Michigan Power.
And then my last one is page 11, 22.5 and 22.5 for something.
The
Something.
professional services.
Professional services and negotiations. That's for the sports complex.
Listen to this.
I don't know, in East
Now that
Jackson.
they have the funds.
Is that East Jackson?
Yes. Our
Wait, what's that for?
Negotiations.
Something.
The professional services.
Professional services and negotiations. That's for the sports complex.
Now this isn't so funny anymore. And now leave it to Jerry to come in here, getting them to drop some information that now Papa Bilbrey gets to come down on them about, because I'm going to be asking starting tomorrow when I send in a record request, asking them what negotiations they are talking about. What negotiations they are talking about. I thought that was a done deal. Is it not a done deal? Are we still negotiating it? If we're still negotiating it, are we still negotiating store? Dan told Gary Dick just yesterday that that was a done deal. It's not a done deal. We know it's not a done deal. Apparently, we're going to hear it's not a done deal. But today, mind you, but my question is, if they're still negotiating the deal with the Sportsplex, then I very, 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 very much believe that they probably could still very easily be negotiating store estates. For some unknown reason or whatever, D.R. Horton either never totally agreed to do it. Maybe they were thinking about it. Dan jumped a gun. Something has happened, because I'm telling you, man, listen, if you Google D.R. Horton, listen to me out there, people who are listening to this that are in Muncie that care and think Dan's wonderful. If you Google D.R. Horton, we will play it. I will play it again. But if you Google D.R. Horton is the biggest yada, yada, yada. But besides being the biggest construction company of homes, they also have another claim to fame, and it's more like a claim to infamy. They're known for being rather shoddy sometimes, because they cut corners and hurry through things. They're not construction companies that come in and set up and take a year to build a building. They build a building in like 3 weeks. They're like boom, bang, pow, it's done. So just for the life of me, I cannot believe if they would have owned or been a part of or had access to these 34 lots, I do not believe that they would not have been in there, at least in some way, starting the process. And as of, when was that? As of yesterday, I was there yesterday. And there is nothing like that happening. So just very, very important for people to know. Now, listen to what he says here one more time. What he asks what the professional services are. Listen.
Something.
The professional services.
I'd be
Professional services.
Services and negotiations, that's for the sports complex.
For negotiations, that's for the sports complex.
With D.R. Horton.
With D.R. Horton. He even says their name. He even says for with D.R. Horton. Listen, I didn't hear that the first time. He even says D.R. Horton. Wow.
Negotiations, that's for the sports complex with D.R. Horton.
I don't know.
For negotiations with the sports complex for D.R. Horton.
East Jackson. Is that East Jackson?
Yes.
Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, so all those in favor of amending the travel policy, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next is the Prairie Creek RTP. Dustin, you want to talk about that?
Hi, Dustin Clark, here representing Prairie Creek today.
Look, the dude's even got a green shirt on. He's even got a green shirt on. I cannot even believe that.
He likes to think that he's like the Green Lantern,
I know he does.
but he reminds me more of Dr. Doom.
Yes, that's hilarious.
Come on, my nerds, am I right?
Yeah.
Dr. Doom,
Yeah.
not Green Lantern, Dr. Doom.
Yeah, this dude, I don't know who he is. He's not even that cool. I'm sorry. I can't do that. Like that's pretty cool. He is not Dr. Doom. Green Goblin. But even that's kind of cool. He's more just like the Booger Man. That's what we might call him. He's like Dustin Clark, the Booger Man.
And that other one is Captain Underpants.
Yeah, right. Captain Snot, the Booger Man, Captain Snot, Dustin Clark, I was going to say to the rescue, but it's more like to your destruction. All right, here we
I
go.
believe we have some bids to be opened.
We do.
We have one.
We have one. Okay,
a
well,
bid.
that is spectacular. One is a start. This project is the continuation of a multi-phase project started way before us and will probably continue. But this is phase 3. And what this will do is this will include about 1.15 miles of multi-use trail, which extends from our southeastern quadrant of the property north to the public beach. And so it'll go the multi-use trail, basically where the hike bike trail is now, all along, all the way up to the beach area now, which is now a free public beach. So this is construction and design of that area, removal of invasives.
All right.
So, ready?
I'm ready. Let's.
This is from Flatland Resources. And the bid is value engineering on cost savings. Excuse me, is $326,150. And the price per the basis of the RFP is $370,450. Okay, I'm assuming you want to take these under advisement.
We absolutely do, yes.
And do you have provisions, since there's only one bid? I mean, do you have a pre-estimate of what your services ought to be, or a
We have
ballpark
a
figure or
good
whatever?
estimate, yes.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Thank you, Dustin. Up next, we have Fire Up Downtown, an amendment for that.
Good morning,
Morning.
Cheryl Crowder, Muncie Downtown Development Partnership. We approved the street closing and stuff for Fire Up quite some time ago, but I am asking to amend it to include the closure of the 100 block of Walnut Street on the 20th, which is the day before. It's beginning at 10 p.m. So after all of the restaurants are closed and everything in that block, so that we can start to set that stage.
All right. And looks like you already have approval from the police chief and the fire chief.
I did talk to both of them, yes.
Linda, any, you want to do a?
Yes,
motion?
I like to move the approval of the amendment for the street closure.
I will second that. Any comments, questions? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, thank you so much.
Yep.
That is all we have under new business. Or is there
in here?
the other two? Okay. Yeah, do you want to go ahead and talk about those?
Sure. I'm sorry. I did not get these to you in time to get them on the agenda, and I apologize for that. It's been a little bit hectic. So you have a street closing for Arts Walk, which would begin at 2 p.m. on October 3rd. And that's just to accommodate the art artists who set up and get soup crawl set up and all of that kind of stuff on that date. And we'll be done by 8.
And you said October 3rd, correct?
Correct.
Do we have a motion?
I move approval of the street closure for October 3rd.
I will second that. Any comments, questions about Arts Walk? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. And then Creature
Thank you.
Crawl, was that the other one?
Yes. And then you have one for the Creature Crawl Pet Parade, which is October 26th. I think the request is for 1 p.m. We start at the county building and just head south down Walnut Street to Keenan Commons, where we do a little contest and then the kids go trick-or-treating downtown. So it's a very short closure. That is a very big day. It's homecoming for Ball State and all of that. And the police have been very gracious to try and figure out how to get this done for us as well. So
Right, right. You have a motion.
Okay, I move approval of the street closure for October 26th.
I will second that. Any
Yeah, that's
comments or
weird.
questions? Right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Thank you so much.
thank
Cheryl.
you.
I was in the middle of fighting with an elected official by text. Who got the bid for the lawn service? Who was it that got that bid?
50. Okay, I'm, excuse me, it's 3. This is from Flatland Resources.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on that, Stumblefoot. I find it a little suspicious that only one bid came in with a town full of lawn services. It'd be interesting to know. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. Well, so, okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Board of Works meeting. So that brings us to the end of that. Now, we are going to go through in a pretty quick order the Muncie Redevelopment Commission meeting. We're not going to break it down and listen to the whole thing as we generally do. We're going to hit the highlights. There are some interesting points of order. This is an hour long. It's less than an hour long meeting. So the meeting is generally,
or Miss Wagley,
they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've got a full council
and Mr.
full
Lowe.
commission.
Here, great, thank you so much. Move forward with the agenda. Are there any items that we need added or taken away? You have that before you today. If not, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
Mr. Dale?
Yes.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Probilla?
Yes.
Ms. Wagley?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, we'll move on to the approval of the previous meeting's memoranda. You all should have a copy of that provided to you in your packets today. Any thoughts or comments, or we can take a motion to approve?
Well, similar to the last several months, there's several omissions. I could list them, but I won't belabor that today, but I just want to go on record that I believe there's several omissions.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve or reject?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion.
Second.
Is that a second? Okay. Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
Mr. Dale?
No.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Probilla?
I abstain.
Miss Wagley?
Yes.
Okay. That passes 3-1-1. And then we'll move on to the claims with Mr. Wright.
Oh, some claimies. Claimies.
Good morning, Craig.
Morning. I sent out the claims yesterday and just wanted to see if there were any questions on any of the items on the claim sheet. We did have some bond payments on there, and it was the usual like mowings at various locations and utilities, and even some consulting on the Gateway project is on there. So any questions?
I don't have any. Does anybody else have any questions?
I have none.
Okay. I'll take a motion to approve the claims. There is one.
Wow.
So moved.
All right. Well, in the
Here we go.
financial position, we have the listed the TIF balances. You see those there. Then we have the focused funds. These are funds that have been identified to be spent in these areas. Total focused funds are 2.6, almost $2.7 million. We have the consolidated TIF at just about $750,000 and other accounts at about $225,000 or roughly. And we have some expected income to come in. And then these allocated spending, these are things that we have allocated for Kilgore Place, storage states for the park and the things that we're doing out there, or the playground and stuff we're doing out there, and then the Village Hilton Tapestry Hotel at the Village, and
The
then
playground and the stuff we're doing out there.
You can see that you got the McKinley Ready.
What stuff are we doing out
Remainder of the city match for a total estimated consolidated TIF funds at 12/31 to be $2.2 million.
Jeff,
Yep.
can I
Yes,
ask you
sir.
a question on the parks projects thing? And I'm just not sure on this. So we have is this a new column listed titled TUI repairs? Or did we just change that from a TUI fund in previous months? Do you know? It's okay if you don't right now. You can email me
I
later.
don't.
Okay.
I don't prepare this report. I get it to me, but I'm not sure why that's.
Oh, listen.
Okay, yeah.
Why doesn't he prepare
Okay.
this
All
report?
right. Yeah, that's fine. I just didn't recognize that. So I don't know. That's okay. I can ask the mayor
Why
later or
doesn't he
something if I need
prepare
to.
this?
Okay.
He
Thank you.
tells on himself
That's all
little
I
by
have.
little.
Updates, got a couple of updates, but not a lot because I think we may have a kind of a full presentation today. But so the Muncie Land Bank MOU has been executed and we have it in our file. So I think that is scheduled to bill sometime in the fourth quarter. Is that right? To start to invoice? Might want to check that, but I think, yeah, sometime in the fourth quarter.
Great.
High Street Plaza, the developers continue to work with the anchor tenant on the space design, but our update is they are working on that specifically now as it relates to the anchor tenant. So I think that is very promising that that's going to move forward.
Yes, Alva.
Although there's some reliance on ready money for that project. Till Pond, the contract was awarded. Meetings are taking place to finalize plans based on the construction cost, and a project will not take place until next year because of the timing of everything. So there won't be any updates on that for quite some time. And then the point, bids are to be opened, I think, I put next week, but that may actually be tomorrow. And once it's awarded, then the city engineer and whoever, I don't know who else, I sat on the meeting with the Till Pond, but I don't know that I will be involved in the meeting with the point to kind of finalize those plans based on the construction bids. And then on the new opportunities, still having conversations about downtown hotel. I gathered all the information I needed to gather for the feasibility study. And so hopefully we'll have that by our next meeting. If not, it'd be the meeting after that. But I haven't for years in my job at the bank, but for years before that, ordered appraisals. It's a different deal. You get a lot of demographics and a lot of data. You have to provide them to do that work. So it's a little more extensive than I realized, which was not a problem. It just took a little time to get it done. Housing, I've had several meetings, some along with the mayor, with developers regarding senior and affordable and workforce housing. There are a couple of sites, opportunities to consider, and it's going to take some time, but we're working through some things there. And there are a couple, maybe one might require trying to establish some kind of a partnership with someone to get that done. But there, again, some of these projects are going to be tax credit reliant, and then so we'll need to make sure we have the deal that would qualify. Tax credits, I don't think application for tax credit projects opens up again until next year. So it takes months to kind of work things out and then start to put the application together. So I think the timing's right for this, but just it'll take a while before we know whether these things can come together or not. And then commercial redevelopment, development, working extensively on several commercial development and redevelopment opportunities, including market rate housing, new and expanding commercial projects. There are significant investments from developers, maybe nearing about $200 million. Again, these have varying degrees of dependency on Ready 2 funds. And I was hoping, I went to a meeting day before yesterday with the Secretary of Commerce and
dude, he's horrible, man.
Hoping that there might be maybe just some hints as to how that money was coming down. Nothing came out, so don't know. But I think they said that they thought in the region there were plans submitted, grant requests submitted that.
If it's okay.
It's like one of two things. This is what I got to say about this. It's like one of two. It's one of two things. He is either incredibly dumb, or he knows things and he is so afraid he's going to say something that he shouldn't say. He's so afraid that he's like, it's like and look, I don't like the guy, but I know he's not dumb. I know he's not like a dumb. I don't think he's the most brilliant man in the world. I think he thinks he is, but the thing is, he is so afraid that he is going to say something that he's like, whoops, I shouldn't say. So that's what he's all the time like, and look, it's not good in radio or podcast or whatnot. And I know sometimes I do that. And when I'm doing that, that's exactly what I'm doing. I am thinking of how I'm processing what I'm going to say, because I know sometimes there are things that I can't say, or to not burn somebody, I will say things differently. So when I'm doing that, that's what I'm doing. And that's what it's like to me. And that's exactly, and you're right, doing that he doesn't make an ounce of sense. It's hard to follow anything he says. He will sometimes talk for like the whole meeting. He'll talk for 45, 50 minutes. And you can't tell what he has said from sentence to sentence. You can't follow him.
A few questions.
Yeah,
On the YMCA property, that is closed now?
it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The store estates and the sportsplex, have they closed?
Sportsplex was never scheduled to close until the end of the year. I'm not sure exactly when it's scheduled, but the store estates, they have said they are not putting any construction out there till all the other contractors are done and out of there. So
And that's done.
that's just, but that should be, everybody should be done there soon. I think part of the playground equipment was on back order.
And that's finished.
And it's finished. I was going to ask you if it was finished. We talked the other day and it was supposed to be in about the time.
So listen to this. He doesn't even, well, in fairness, Tweety Bird, I think he can't find the words he's looking for intermixed with the words that he also is afraid he doesn't want to say. I think he's not in charge. He's Dan's reader. That's all he is. And so he sets in some meetings and he is aware of some things and he is doing his damnedest to not give away anything. Like what just happened here, you cannot tell me. He knows the playground at store is done. The city has been announcing it and talking about it for the last month. And he's just right there doing that. Like, it's done. We talked the other day. I was just getting ready to ask you that. He knew it was done, but he knows that what he's been saying is well, they're not going to go out there until everything is done. Well, look, dude, everything's been done. Everything's been done for the last month. And you keep talking about the same nonsense.
We talked, but I wasn't sure if it was done yet or not.
But the store estates is closed, right? That deal is closed. The sale has been made.
Yeah, they're going to take down the lot and they're going to take down the lots over time, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only other thing I had was
now he just lied. He just lied there. It is not. It is not. It is not. It has not closed. So he just said yeah when Andrew asked that.
I had requested that something be placed on the agenda, which was the 2025 Redevelopment Commission spending plan annual submission that the state is requiring now by statute. And you shared that the reason it wasn't on the agenda was because we didn't have any information yet on that no directive has come down.
Sort of, yeah. So, and Jeff, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but and if I'm misunderstanding this, you can correct me, but the state has to provide us with a template, so to speak, of how we're supposed to do this whole thing. And then they also have to give Mr. Wright, as a city controller, access to a state portal for him to enter certain information on our behalf. And I believe, Jeff, the plan also is to have one of our, one of the city's financial consultants come and speak to us on this in a few.
The gentleman that helps us with our bonds is gonna work on that. And I have, we were talking earlier about, he is with LWG. And they do our bond work. Bob Swintz, he's been in here. You guys have met him, but
that's great. The reason I say that is when you shared that yesterday in an email or maybe the day before, I went online and on the 28th, they provided the directive and they gave the portal information and they gave a lot of stuff. And then Barnes and Thornburg, just a little more looking, has put out a model annual spending plan, which might be a real benefit to have.
I haven't seen the model. I got the other stuff. I haven't seen the model yet.
I have some copies for you. And I'm just saying that the information's out there now, and that I'm sure that guidance through the consultant will help even further. But if you'd like a copy of this, I've got them.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I put together a template as well, but then later realized that time was probably not very well spent because they're going to give us some guidance on that.
That's the funniest comment I've ever seen. Look, He's 6 pages into a phone book. What are the other 300 pages for? That's a pretty damn good comment, and I am definitely scoring that up here because I will use that in the future when talking to people and in seeing situations like this. That is a comment that you will hear me say on this program again and again, I promise.
But
that's a good
ideally, it would be great to get ahead of that. But to be honest with you, because we have so many things, and I'm guessing this is going to be the case everywhere, but certainly in a lot of places, with this Ready's 2 kind of still hanging out there, I think, everybody's going to try to see if we get as close as we can to the due date to see if maybe some of this information comes out, and then we'll know better what available sources and what projects that are completely hinged on that.
Yeah.
If we don't get it, won't happen, and other things that have because we have some projects that if we get it, it would maybe speed them up, but if we don't, they'll still happen, but it'll be timing. So I think some of that's just kind of trying to get closer to that timeline so we can figure out, do we know all the numbers?
To that point, I had a conversation with another Indiana mayor, not ours, but another one from another town that I'm just associated with earlier this week, and he said he's experiencing kind of the same issue with like timeline, just for reference. So it's hopefully not just us, right?
God.
I was going to also request Mr. Freeman, if you don't mind, either for the October meeting or whenever our consultant comes, would you mind to also give us an overview of like the state statute changes for MRC in regards to this process?
Because we get tired of Andrew. We get tired of Andrew bringing them up and making us look like fools because he asks, and Andrew does it great. He asks the question, and then they answer, and then Andrew's like, well, the reason I asked that is because I already knew the answer, and it's this, and it was definitely not what you just said. So he makes them look stupid. So that's the reason they want this. It's just fine. Finally, they're just now asking for the attorney to let them know like what things they should have already known.
Yes. I'd just like to hear from you on that. I think that would be valuable. I've been meaning to give you that request, and I haven't yet. So,
and I'm happy to provide the copies that I have.
And Andrew's like, I'm happy to do this for you. I could do it right now if you want. I'm prepared because I'm the only one that comes here prepared. Well, I'm not saying that against the young guy down there with the shaved head. He's cool. I always forget his name, but the other of you are always here for ride now, so you're just here to vote yes for the mayor, and me and Miami Vice down here are here to do the work of the people.
To our council and to Mr. Howe, because I think a lot of those directives are stated in there.
Great.
It's very articulate.
Yeah, wonderful.
Very articulate.
Go ahead, Mr. Howe.
So the resolution, similar to what, it's exactly the same thing that was provided last time, but we had an absence, and I wanted to see if we could consider that again with the full board, giving me the ability to do some things between meetings that need to be done, so without a lot of regurgitation of the explanation, I'd like you guys to consider that resolution.
Did we get any new information about what the spending limit is for city department heads? That wasn't looked into?
No.
Okay, so we don't know how this stacks up, like to other similar positions?
No, because honestly, I don't know if it matters, because all departments aren't the same. The things that have to get done are different. So,
You're not,
I don't
you're not
know.
necessarily a department head either.
I agree.
You're kind of more a mayoral appointee. I mean, department heads are appointees, but it's kind of a gray area. I don't want to speak to that necessarily.
Right,
But
right.
And I have to agree with what Mr. Howe has said and what you've said, in that the department heads of the city are guided by spending allotments that are set in place
by the
before
budget.
the annual fiscal year.
yeah,
In this regard, it's a little different. Now, I do not support this plan for various reasons, but I do agree that there's a difference. Lastly, President Miller had requested that language be included to provide the phase out of this policy, and that it follows director by director. And I didn't see any of that language in the revised.
Didn't change it. I didn't
yeah,
change
he
anything
just
from the last
submitted
one.
the same one. It says
Same.
effective August 15th. That's okay. I'll make essentially the same motion that I think I made last month, which was a motion to approve this with the included language that this phase out director to director. That'll be my motion on the table for now, if I can get a second.
This should be voted down.
Second.
Okay, there's a second. Do we have any more discussion before we?
Yeah, I just like to, my main point on this is
Yes.
it's been rare in the last many years that there's ever been such an emergency occurrence to ask for anything.
Yes.
The other thing is the more practical use of the policy
Yes.
would allow the director of the MRC, and either intentionally or unintentionally, I would think
It is not the director of the MRC. I got to get a hold of Andrew tomorrow. Listen, this dude is not the director of the MRC. I don't know why they keep calling him that. The appointment that he was filled to be is supposed to be the director of economic. He's supposed to be the redevelopment finance director. Excuse me. The redevelopment director is what he's supposed to be.
Is that right? I thought it was economic development director.
Economic development. Well, that's the same thing as economic development,
Okay,
redevelopment.
sorry.
Yeah. No. You're fine. You're right. You that kind of helped me. So he's like the economic development / redevelopment director, redevelopment commission, redevelopment director. He's not the Muncie Redevelopment Commission director. They are making it seem as if he is over the board. He is not over the board. That is not true. That is absolutely crazy, and that is just simply not the case. Let me see here. I'm going to look this up to double check. Okay. Yes. So Todd Donnetti was the executive director of the. Okay. I'll eat some crow on this. I'm wrong. I guess I'm wrong. I guess they called that. I guess they called that to Todd Donnetti, the executive director of the Muncie Redevelopment Commission. Okay, I'm wrong. I will concede that I was wrong to that point, and Howell can be called the Muncie Redevelopment Director. I guess I was wrong. I was wrong, and I wasn't. The bottom line is, whatever he's called, the point of the matter is, he is not over them. Okay? They are in charge of him. He works for them. He's appointed by the mayor to work at their pleasure. They direct him on what to do. So this, I agree with Andrew, and they're going to vote. This is going to be voted through. Andrew and Shane will vote no, and but the other three will push it through, and it'll be what it'll be, and it's ridiculous. So, and it is what it is.
Potentially to bypass meaningful MRC dialogue.
Yes.
That shifts the decision making from the commission, which we're fully endowed to expedite, to the administrative side. So the example that was used when this was originally brought up last month was, well, we'd like to do a feasibility study. But that's a larger question that we all ought to have in coordination with our director before we would be placed in a position to spending money and making such a consequential decision. Now, I supported that feasibility study completely, but if this includes going forward with appraisals on properties, I would disagree with that, because that's setting in motion a decision-making process that is very difficult to veer off the path from. So that's why I can't support this.
Sure. My only response to that point would be under Section 2, emergency expenditures. It states, in the event of an emergency as reasonably determined by the director or hereafter defined by the commission. And Ben, you can correct me on the legal language there, but by saying or hereafter defined by the commission, that kind of gives the commission the ability to say, actually, we really didn't approve that. If Jeff were to spend an amount that we were like, no, you really should not have done that without our approval, does that kind of open the door for us as the commission to say, maybe you shouldn't have done that? Can we recall that or something along those lines? What do you think?
You're delegating the authority, so either now or in the future, you can put whatever caps, limits, caveats, any types of controls in place that you want, either now or at any time in the future.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but understand that my actions my activities are based on the strategic initiatives that are in the charter of the Muncie Redevelopment Commission.
Sure.
The redevelop.
The other point I was going to close on, and then I'll pass the floor. I'll go either one of you here. Was that also of note in Section 2, it does say, provided that the president of the commission is notified and consents to the expenditure in writing. So it's not as if any director could just spend an exorbitant amount of money. He does have to notify a commission member, being the president. At this point, that's me. It could be anybody else at any time. So that's just an added note.
Sure, and that's in the event of an emergency expenditure. But number one, the first point is the spending limit. The director is authorized to approve expenditures up to $10,000 between commission meetings. So those are not part and parcel. Those are individual. Policies within this policy. So yeah, we could say emergency. I mean, you could limit it to emergencies and take off point number one. I still would have a difficult time because of the nature of being able to call this group together within hours for a meeting, especially an emergency meeting. But actually, this is very flexible, incredibly flexible because of number one.
Okay.
Number two is emergency. Number one is spending anything under $10,000 at any time between meetings.
Okay. Jeff, did you have other points to make? Sorry.
I don't think so.
Okay, we have a motion. Sorry, Zach.
Yeah, just a question on the language in the resolution. It says effective August 15th. Would this be backdated, or
No,
does that need amended?
It's because this is what was prepared for that meeting. I'm literally updating it now, so we'll print a new copy. I'm amending it as, assuming the amendment passes, the copy that would be signed, including the.
We'll look into that.
I'm putting a paragraph right now, making this specific only to Jeff, and then it has to be reapproved. And so the document, that'll be signed by the president will be reflective of any changes that are made today.
Thank you. Does there need to be an amended motion based on the resolution, or it's just automatically
Good Lord.
assumed to not be backdated?
Just don't vote for it.
I think you mean in regards to the date on the.
Oh, the date on there. I suppose that's up to you. I mean, it's effective whenever you make it effective. So if you want it to be backdated, it can be backdated. If you want it effective today, I'll make it effective today.
I will amend my motion also to be effective as of today. That's fine. That's fine. Any further discussion? Okay, we will call roll. Mr. Bishop.
Here we go.
No.
Mr. Dale.
No.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Pravilla.
Yes.
Ms. Wagley.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 3-2. Next up, we have the YWCA item.
This
with
should
Ms.
be a
Barnes.
3-member board.
Yeah. Latasha Barnes Griffin has some plans with the YWCA that she wants to share with you, and then talk a little bit about what she would like the MRC to consider in their plans. So.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Latasha Barnes Griffin, Chief Executive Officer for YWCA Central Indiana, 310 East Charles Street, Muncie, Indiana, 47305. So thank you for this space. But we are asking MRC to potentially give approval for your executive director to do a couple of appraisals on our current facility. We are in the process of identifying a new home for our emergency shelter program for our agency, period. But I have with me today our project consultant, Julie Metzger, and we also have with us Mara Hoff, who is also a board member. And we want to just share a little information with you. But what is happening with us is that we are in a building downtown, historic building, 1927, right? The building has served us well, but it does not serve our needs as it did once before. And so one of our signature programs is our emergency shelter program, where we house women and children. And the space that we're in is just not conducive. There's a lot of...
I tell you, I have such vivid memories, smell memories, sight, hearing of being inside the YW as a child. Smelling the chlorine in the pool, being in the gym, being in
deferred maintenance, a lot of things that need to be done. But when we talk about our mission of empowering women, our space does not provide that. And so our board and consultants have been on a mission to really identify new locations in our community that can be repurposed and remodeled to be an emergency shelter program for us that is modern with a lot of innovative spaces. Our current building, it's radiators, it's 1927 boilers, it's window ACs in every space, and it just does not serve our purpose well.
Wow. Okay, so the YMCA got the new building uptown. Why doesn't the YW move into the old YM building? I mean, I'm being facetious, but
so we are asking the MRC to consider the opportunity for appraisals on that building, because we know that as we look and do some feasibility studies and some capital campaign studies, that whatever building we do identify, we will need time to remodel said building. Obviously. And we know that with MRC, there's the potential of appraisals, potential purchase with an agreement for us to maybe lease that building back for a couple of years as we work through some remodels. So I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to ask if our project consultant, Julie Metzger, can kind of share some data with you, and then I'm happy to come up and answer more questions.
As it is in so many communities across the country. I want to show you a short video. And the woman in this video was a resident of the Y a few years ago.
Provide. To us, we know that women's rights are human rights, and we're here to serve, and we don't plan on going anywhere. We know that we have an impact. We know that we belong here. We know that our mission is broad and bold, but we also know that we are on that mission, and we are here to create long.
That building.
So every day we get the chance to put our heels on.
Researched for quite a while. So all of this sort of culminates to this moment as we come to you to consider our request. By the way, we have a strong foundation. Watasha joined the YWCA as CEO and had a $175,000 budget. And that has grown incrementally and consistently, and we believe this will only continue. Of course, now we have more staff, more women and their children, and
of course,
our staff.
It'll take time. It's going to be interesting to see what the city of Muncie
Zero
does.
Down on, and so the feasibility study is gauging key stakeholders to see if we can raise that. If the building of choice, it would be about $4 million to remodel that particular site. $9 million with all furnishings and maintenance deferment kind of in that. So between 4 and 9 is where we're looking to see if community would be able to help support.
Man,
silently we
sounds like
we
they're
have
going to
been making good progress with
sounds like they're going to
campaign
building
donors.
a fire station
In real time. The building that we are in, again, I would say that we would need to stay in that space. And so as a board, they talked about, putting the for sale sign out there, like pushing it out to commercial, for commercial purchase. But, we know that
I would have to
purchaser may come in and say, hey, you have to vacate 90 days. We're going to do this sale. We need to remain in this building while we are going through this remodel phase. And so that is why I reached out to MRC. That answers that question.
Yeah.
And I'll stop.
No, that's fine. Thank you. The second question, well, this isn't really a question, more of a comment. So on your capital campaign, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but the administration has also pledged funds to that capital campaign, correct?
That is correct.
So that's good. So this is obviously a priority of the administration, which I think is important.
Yeah.
To help you all make this move. And so
Dude, I think I
if
solved
we
the
can
problem.
partner in that, I think that's valuable. Your ask today from us is more so just to approve Jeff to pursue appraisals on your building to see where we're at in terms of cost value if we
So
were to
because they
purchase,
passed
right?
that
Is
other
correct?
thing, they're going to allow
That is
Stefan
correct.
to do a bunch of crazy stuff we'll never know about.
Has been, and you just said this, but to be clear, I think when she approached me, I think the concern is if they market it today for sale and somebody wants to buy it, they need to operate maybe as long as 2 years.
Sure.
And you know, they're going to be in the same boat that we are often in. We're not picking them, they're picking us, right? Or if they wait and market it then, if it doesn't sell, then you've got the overhead of the building, which is substantial. And so I think tax credit.
Sure.
So, you know, apply next year and it takes a while. The developer I'm going through tomorrow, I think could go a lot of different ways. The developer that we went through with last week did like the building and said it was sound. He said, I'm not a construction guy. I've financed the construction of a lot of buildings, but I don't know a lot about the construction of buildings necessarily, but said, usually these buildings, you can stand on the corner and you can see the walls one place or another, kind of bow a little bit. You can tuck point them, but then you just shift the stress to another part of the building. He said he just didn't see that there. The building was put on the historic register in 83 or 89. I can't remember exactly, but somewhere in the 80s. So there would be some historic preservation factor, which I don't have a
length of time to coordinate anyway. So that could be worked out in a term of sale. It's not either or. It's not either or. I mean, it can be something in between. So I've been on record as saying, and I am very reticent of government getting in the way of the private market first. That first, government should be out of the way and let the private market do its job. And I think in this regard, this is a classic example of where it could be done. So I'm not in favor. I'm in favor of everything you do. I'm in favor of participation in some fashion, significant monetary participation, because the need and the mission is worthy and right, but not at the expense of negating what the private market can first do.
So just to reconfirm, we're not approving a sale today. We're just talking about
But
appraisals.
what we're saying is we're going to solicit appraisals.
Correct.
For this body to consider making a purchase.
Correct.
Right. And so.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, yeah. Clarifying question for the YW.
Bizarre. Listen. Listen to how crazy this is. So often in the state of Indiana, ask yourself, what's going on here? We have Andrew Dale, who, by all measure, is a pretty left-leaning individual. He's pretty liberal. He's pretty liberal on a national political level, on some of his national beliefs. And routinely is the most fiscally conservative person on the Muncie Redevelopment Commission. Time and time again is constitutionally minded, is fiscally minded, is more conservative than Dan Ridenour, is more conservative than Isaac Miller, is more conservative than, blows me away. And There are things that I agree with Andrew on. There are things I disagree with Andrew on. Andrew and I have always gotten along. I know that Andrew can be a little much sometimes. So can I. You know what I mean? Like I'm not, no harm, no foul there. He is what he is. I like Andrew. There's a lot of people that don't. I get it. I understand it. I can respect the things I respect about him. You know what it is. I like him. As far as being a foil to Dan and Dan's administration, it's not even that I think that he wants to be a foil to it. It's that he just wants them to think. He wants them to think about things. And so I respect what Andrew's doing. And I know that this decision's hard for him because I know he supports their mission and everything they're doing. He's just thinking conservatively. And so, you know, I do think I see some of the people, Jackie's in here saying like, what building are they looking for? Shirley says that, you know, that's not known yet. They're investigating. You know, to me, I hear that that's kind of weird. I'm like, well, let us know where you're looking first or whatever. You know, I don't know, but very strange. So, okay, here we go. We're almost done.
It's not just the current condition of the building that's an issue. It's the like the arrangement, the setup, like the physical setup.
So it is very, so when you talk about women and children having private spaces to live and play, you come to visit me today or to donate, everyone comes with the same doors. There's no privacy. So we do have some single room occupancy spaces where they have their privatized living. But when people are in our building, it's not, there's no dignity. There's no privacy, no confidentiality is one of the issues. And number two is we keep the building in as good shape as we can, but the population that we serve, there's a lot of traffic happening right there, right? And to really provide a homeless shelter in that location provides a lot of unwanted foot traffic, a lot of things that are not safe for women and children to be exposed to. And so that also plays a role. But yeah, just the setup of it is not conducive to what we do today.
Has there been any, like, I mean, I know there's a number of issues of the building and it really depends on the end use. Is there like even a ballpark that you've had for like renovations to the building?
So we've done some of that work. We've had Mike Shore Pride Marcus come through and has went through that entire building with us. Right when we did that in 2022, it was about $4.5, almost $5 million. So we're like, well, we might look for a place and remodel or build that is in an area that is specific to the needs that we have today.
Mr. President, I would actually move that we extend a first right of refusal to the organization as opposed to conducting appraisals, meaning that if the private market does its work and they fetch a bid that, a sale suggested offer of a certain amount, that we have the first right to either accept that and to match it or to maybe up it a little bit, but not put ourselves in a position where we're purchasing a property before the private market has had its opportunity to participate.
Mr. Freeman or Mr. Howe, you may know this. Would we, regardless of if we do that, still have to do the appraisal process? Yeah.
No matter what, man.
So 6 to 1, one half of another. Right.
Then, right. But not ahead of time. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And if it is conducive to a tax credit deal, the city will be expected to provide a match of some kind, whether that's in the contributing the building, or
you're right.
something like that.
Yeah,
And then,
Kate,
of course,
they're just
thing becomes you have to supplement that.
sometimes it's like they don't even care what they just gotta. I've been that way before. You know how it is to have like, oh man, I got $500 in my pocket. I just got to spend it.
It really comes down to
whatever. I've been that way.
A developer that's going market is one thing, and then if it's
oh God, thank God.
Deal.
Sure.
It's a completely different animal.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments from the commission?
I put that as a motion.
The,
What I just stated,
okay.
right of first refusal.
Okay. Mr. Dale has a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Can the motion be repeated, please?
Good.
The motion is to extend, to enter into an agreement of a first right of refusal with the
Yes.
YWCA from the commission.
That is the motion. Is there a second? All right, hearing none, the motion dies. I will make a motion that we authorize Mr. Howe as our director to pursue
No,
the appraisal process for the white.
I gotta ask, man. I gotta ask. I guess I'm gonna have to reach out to him. Why? What's the kid's name? Shane Bishop? Zane Bishop? Zane Bishop is like seems like he's so in there. He's left Andrew hanging on several of these things. And it's like he just, I mean, I guess it's good that he's his own man and he's like, hey, look, I'm on your side on some of these things, but sometimes I'm just not. Like, I mean, I guess I appreciate that and I can respect it. But at the same time, I'm like, dude, come on, bro. Like, you might not like his idea, but you don't seem like you like their idea. And if you don't do what Andrews is, they're going to definitely do what they're going to do. And look, you might second it and it might get voted down. But just to not give him a second, yeah, right. If he doesn't want to go along with Andrew, he needs to present his own ideas. And if he's not going to, at least give the second and then vote no on it. You know, you could do that if you must do that, but at least have the vote happen. I don't understand it. That frustrates me.
YWCA building beginning now. So that's my motion. Is there a second for that motion?
Second.
There's a second from Ms. Wagley. Okay, we'll take roll. Mr. Bishop.
Yes.
Mr. Dale.
No.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Pravilla.
Yes.
Ms. Wagley.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 4-1.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming today. Mr. Howe, go ahead with your property purchase.
There is not a property purchase. We had
Okay.
someone interested, but they fell ill and it's not. able
You
to
told
make
me
it,
that.
so
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
asked them to come
Yeah.
next month.
That's right.
Has the application been applied for?
There was-
Like they've actually applied for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, application, yeah.
Okay. Is that able to be forwarded to us?
Yeah.
I think it was, wasn't it? Did you, or did you just send it to me maybe? I don't remember. Okay.
I didn't forward it because it wasn't coming to that.
Okay.
I knew it wasn't
I'm wrong. That's okay. That's all right. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll move on to Mr. Howard's update from the Muncie Land Bank.
Okay, they go through this.
On the property we dispossessed to him. We also signed
Basically, we're gonna
when
skip
it first
through
came
this
out,
pretty smoothly.
priority list that then we'll triangulate with our partner's interest.
I always like this guy.
And eventually make another ask to the county commissioners for a new swath of properties. Our first Friday meeting this past month was a Ball State graduate, Abigail Lane, who works with the Inglewood CDC in Indianapolis. She came down.
And that name sounds really
just
familiar.
Really
funding. We put it on.
We'll move into public comment. I don't know if anybody signed up or not.
Here we go.
But it's 2 minutes each.
Sign up here.
2 minutes. Such an idiot.
Go ahead and sign up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Charles Jameson. I have just really 3 questions. Some of them are clarification. Earlier in this meeting, Mr. Dale brought up Store Estates, and I heard 2 things, and I just want to make sure I understand. I understand that there's not going to be any construction until all the utility work is done, and
Yes, the pool is still there. Yes, it is.
they're out. But from an ongoing maintenance from this point forward, did I hear correctly that DR Horton is now responsible for maintaining that property?
because they own it, not the MRC. Is that a correct statement?
Do you want us to answer your questions now or during commissioner comment? I don't want to waste your time to like
Okay.
ask questions. If you want to ask all of them, and then we can.
Or you could stop it while you answer. Then the other questions, the old YMCA, and I heard that we've closed on that. And the condos that have been walled off, or the area has been walled off on Walnut Street. Do we have any dates on when work is going to begin on either of those? And also the point construction. I know you say it's going out for bid. If I go back a few meetings, I seem to recall that the point construction was not something that wanted to be done until a new development was done on the rest of the property. Now, then the development on that, the new development kind of went away, and now we're talking about it again.
You're right.
So I guess I'd like an answer. Are we going to do the point construction, the public space? Are we going to go ahead with that and do it before we sign on for a new building on the remaining of the property? I just want clarification on that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Good questions.
Timing. Was anybody else signed up for public comment today? No. Okay, we'll move into commissioner comments. Yeah, I think on so with DR Horton, now that they're done doing construction on the playground and have all the utilities in, I believe now it's their intention to go ahead and start building. The way that deal worked out was they have a purchase agreement for all the lots, but then they only, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, but they only take responsibility for like building on, I believe it's like 10 or 11 or 9 lots at a time. It's in thirds. Yeah. So my assumption is that they're working on the first third now, and then they'll continue on to the second. Like the second third will drop to them. They'll build on that. And the third will drop to them, and they'll take on that. The old Y, I don't have an updated timeline from Sean. I know that we just closed like last few weeks, and we've closed on both sides of that deal. So both the YMCA and the condo project thing that he wants to do over there. Jeff, do you have an updated timeline from him on that?
I guarantee you, Charlie's did. And no, they have not closed on it.
Now, so there's stuff going on. I think it's inside the building. They're going to do some intricate demo, if you will, remove some things so they can see the structure, parts of the structure, because they're.
No, I think what he means, Charlize, is did you feel like you were running out of time? Did you feel you weren't having enough time? I think that's what he means.
Going up.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of that stuff is supposed to have started. I haven't been in it lately, but a lot of that stuff is supposed to have started. But it's going to. But you won't probably be able to see much for a while because they're going to see what's there. Then they'll do whatever their engineering work has to be done with architects. So to move, because nobody does a lot of this engineering or takeoffs on all this other stuff until they know there's a deal closed, because that costs thousands and thousands of dollars and lots and lots of time. So
yeah,
but they are. I was in a meeting with them and the building commissioner, and they talked about what they would be doing, and so.
Yeah. And then the point construction, I believe originally, yes, the goal was to have the phase 2 built there. That fell through due to various reasons with the developer. I don't know all the details of that. So when that fell through, we decided to go ahead and build out the public space just to make it look beautiful, because it is the entryway to downtown and something does need to go there. And I believe last I was told, and it's been probably a month or two, that developer was in talks about maybe redoing something there. Someone was, I don't know who it was, but
the bids on the point open tomorrow.
Yes.
So the contract should be awarded. I think it's the 20th. So I think it's tomorrow. It could be
That's
next
correct.
week.
Yeah, right.
Tomorrow. And so once the contract, the bids get open, then they'll move forward to see if there's any.
Yeah.
And again, because a lot of these, we have a concept drawing, and then people work on the bids to build that, but then.
Dude, he
like I say,
just
then
likes
there
to
are always
hear himself talk, I swear.
intersecting things that can cause those things to shift one direction or another.
Yeah, and they might as well start construction on like the public space anyway, because nothing else can be built on that property. So like, we might as well beautify it, right? That just makes sense.
Just
to
to
me.
clarify
They
that,
won't build till next year.
Yeah.
but the intention is regardless of the development, the private development, the effort is to get the point done. as
Like
soon
the
as
public
possible.
space,
Right,
yes.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Ms. Jameson's actual question
I was going to ask that.
was actually who maintains store as it's developed? Is it the developer only maybe maintains the grounds while they're doing the first tranche or the second tranche, and then we take care of the rest, or is it that they take care of everything? So,
Oh, that's fair. Okay. I see.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up
They'll
too.
take care of they'll take care of the properties that have been deeded to them.
Okay.
The city will take care of the others, and at some point, it would be my suggestion that we, and I think it'll be the parks department that will do it. My suggestion would be at some point when appropriate, I'm not sure when that is.
Sure.
But we'll have that conversation, we should, and how this is done from department to department. But if there is a deed process, we ought to deed that to the city parks.
Sure.
And let them.
Because they're already maintaining it.
Right.
So I mean, it's kind
And I
of
don't know how that
their
works,
thing.
but, you know, but we ought to get that in the hands of who's responsible for it from that point forward.
That's-
Nobody
yeah.
can work these PDM
No.
property anymore.
That's a good idea moving forward. I agree. Any other commissioner comments today?
Just to clarify, who are the bids being opened by tomorrow for the
Who are they
point?
being opened by?
Yes.
I suppose that.
I think it's Board of Works,
that Board of
correct?
Works and-
No, that's
and
on
city.
Wednesdays, so I don't know what you're talking about with
Oh, well, maybe I'm
tomorrow.
wrong. Maybe it's next Wednesday.
It might be next Wednesday. I thought it was Board of Works. that
If
had the
it's Board of
hands.
Works, then it's next
I'm
Wednesday.
just confused about the dates.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Any other public commissioner comments today? Maintaining it. So I mean, it's
And
kind
I
of
don't know how that
their
works,
thing.
but, you know, but we ought to get that in the hands of who's responsible for it from that point forward.
That's-
Nobody
yeah.
can work this PDMRC property any longer.
That's a good idea moving forward. I agree. Any other commissioner comments today?
Just to clarify, who are the bids being opened by tomorrow for the
Who are they
point?
being opened by?
Yes.
I suppose that.
I think it's Board of Works,
that Board of
correct?
Works and-
No, that's
and
on
the city.
Wednesdays, so I don't know what you're talking about
Oh,
with
well, maybe I'm
tomorrow.
wrong. Maybe it's next Wednesday.
It might be next Wednesday. I thought it was Board of
And he see, and even the Wegley, and I think I'm just gonna start calling her the Wegley. Even the Wegley says, "I don't know what you're talking about tomorrow," because he didn't know. It doesn't matter. He's just getting it out. He's just saying, you know, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter tomorrow. It doesn't matter that it's not actually tomorrow. It's just. He's like Craig. He's getting it said and being done with it. I'm so sick of him.
Board of Works. that
If
had the
it's Board of
hands.
Works, then it's next Wednesday.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other public commissioner comments today? Okay. Seeing none, we will be adjourned. Our next meeting is October 17th, 2024. Thank you so much.
Pretentious dicks away. Okay. All right. So we're done, basically. I just want to say this in ending. Whatever they're talking about, whatever they're talking about with the store estates is utter bullcrap. It's not bought. It's not, they've not closed on anything. The city of Muncie still owns it. To GW's point, the bottom line is D.R. Horton is not maintaining the taxes. You are absolutely right. They are avoiding paying the taxes. It's because Dan lied to us and his people continue to lie to us. They just lied to everybody's face. Charlize got up and asked a really straightforward question, and they did everything they could to just completely avoid her question and answer just a question that they wanted to ask. The question from this point forward has to be, so who's responsible for taxes this year? Oh, so who's responsible for taxes now? Next MRC meeting. Okay, who's responsible for taxes now? Oh, okay, who's responsible for taxes in November? So until we know that D.R. Horton is in there, that's the question. Whatever they're talking about, When D.R. Horton buys the entire property, bottom line, if they go in there and they buy 34 properties, hell no, the city of Muncie's not taking care of that. They will be responsible for it. I don't care if they're the building thing is just to build 9 houses or 3 houses or whatever at a time. But if you go in and you buy, it's like I'm going to buy a car, but I'm only going to drive it in the summer. So I don't want to pay for any, I don't want to pay the payment on it or pay anything on it, you know, from basically October to March. I just want to pay on it. You know, I'm only going to be driving it from, you know, basically April till October. And then, you know, the rest of the time I'm not going to be driving. I don't want to pay for it. That doesn't work that way. If they close on all 34 properties, it's theirs. They got the taxes. They've got the upkeep. No deeding this thing off to the city parks. That is insane. Are you kidding me? I don't even know what he would be talking about. I take back my comment from earlier. He might just be dumb. He might not be trying to hide what he's saying. He might just be dumb. That's it. That's all there is to it. Like, I don't know. Floors me. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, it's like pulling straight. It's like pulling teeth. Absolutely. Dan didn't include that info in that 300-page document with which he read the first 2 pages on. It works that way when you're a corporation coming into Muncie to make a deal. I swear there is something out there in the universe that people have that says, hey, if you want to try to get over on a whole ecosystem, a whole city, whole people, go to Muncie. You can do it. Horton will do whatever one plot of land will do whatever one plot of land at a time. That's why Beacon says MRC owns it. Bing, 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 bing. Absolutely. That's exactly right. Probably what they'll do is it'll say MRC owns it the entire time, and they'll go in and build just one house at a time, and not until they get all 34 done will they then take it. And that's probably what will happen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for sitting through this long episode. It was a little bit longer than I originally thought it would be, but we got through it. We did what we needed to do. Obviously, if you're watching this live, you're watching this on Thursday, the 19th. That means we are 262 days without correspondence from Dale Basham, Muncie City Councilor at large, the 3rd at-large councilor. There's 3 of them. Doesn't mean anything. Roselvi's the 1st. I don't know. I think she's the 1st. I think that's the one. I think he's the 3rd. Anyways, today is the 19th of September, 2024. I have not spoke with him in the entire time he's been in office. 262 days that he has refused to speak with me. It's ridiculous. It's sad. He's been in office for 263 days, of which I sent out the first correspondence the first day. We are 262 days with no correspondence, and we're going to continue counting that up until we get rid of him. So that's that, ladies and gentlemen. I want to tell you that unless something crazy happens tomorrow, unless I get records in the inbox, unless anything goes on, I probably will not be on tomorrow. More than likely will not be on Saturday. That means we will be here Sunday night for episode 290, the 290th episode. That will be a fantastic episode. Tune in for that. Check in the box up here. Hit the like. Do that thing. I love it. It's fantastic. Just in closing, I think next week we're going to have some guests on, so hopefully that'll be interesting to see what goes on. People still need to be contacting Nexstar. Also, I will not be going live unless something big happens. But if you are on TikTok, I think I'm going to do some quick little blurb videos on TikTok over the weekend. I might do a live on there, not like this kind of live, just like holding it, driving around, doing some different stuff. So if you're on TikTok, check us out on TikTok. I forget what my TikTok screen name is. I think Kate might have it there. I don't really know, but just so you guys know, our TikTok account is, I think it's
on the screen.
Oh, it's on the screen right there. Yeah. Hey, look, I didn't even know I had that in there. TikTok account, tiktok.com at the political spotlight. Of course it is. Right there it is. So hit me up on TikTok and we'll see what we do there. I think I'm going to do that on Saturday. So you guys have a good rest of your evening. God bless each and every one of you. Take care. Good weekend. And we will see you Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Good night. You know,